A and method B. In method B, we have taken the useful life of a computer for 5 years. In the method B, we didn't do so. We have thought that after 2 years the computer will be good. After third year, 10% of the computer will become obsolete. Then 20, then 40, then 20, then 10. So these are the two methods. So if we apply these are the two methods in personal computers and cell phone, we can see that in the year 2010, the discarded computer waste generated from the computer should be 15,323 tons by taking a growth rate of 11.4% in computers in our country. And you can see the figure will be rising. And also for the cell phone, in 2010, the junk generated from cell phones would be 2,696 tons. And of course it would be rising, even if we take the most conservative figure over there by taking the average. So at least we can look into some figures about how much electronic waste should be generated in our country in future. And there are other estimates also, but if you compare that one, this one is the most conservative figure that you can look at. It won't decrease, it will rise. Now let us see how these electronic waste are moving in our country. If we imagine, we can understand how this is moving here. Households and offices are, discarding their equipment, selling them for minimum prices. These are collected by small scrap dealers. These are going to the large scrap dealers, we could call Bhangari Dokan. Some of the usable items which they can keep, they are keeping over there and reselling them. Again, they are moving to the recyclers. They are segregating, keeping some part with them, and then, again transferring these unusable or unrecyclable items to the small recyclers. They are sometimes burning to get those iron part from out of them, and then finally they are throwing it to the solid waste and going into the landfill over there. If we try to see it through pictures, then it can be like this. From household office is being collected here. Then they sell the items they can sell by themselves. And finally, look, these people are, with their bare hands, they are dealing with these toxic items and recycling them. And ultimately, they are going to the solid waste dumps and mixing up with the landfill here in the country. So, how to deal with this electronic waste? If we consider for our country, in Bangladesh, we are considering about the draft rules and regulations over there. If we go to India or South Asian countries, India has succeeded in developing their draft. They have developed a fee system. This fee system is basically, in most of the cases, either the consumer bears it or the producer or consumer shares it. And they have formed this producer responsibility organization. I will discuss later on why we should consider this as an effective way of dealing with it. So that they have developed this system where producers get registered into with some particular recycling agencies, and they finally deliver these particular electronic goods to those recycling agencies. So there are different systems over there in managing the electronic waste.
Sorry, what about US, UK and China? Do you have that?
I don't have here. I don't have this. I'm sorry. Maybe some other time we can enlist this one. Yeah. Now, whoever pays it, be it producer, be it government, ultimately it is borne by consumers. Consumers should pay, whatever be the form. Because if you ask the producer to pay, producer will ultimately add up with the price of the commodity. So ultimately, the cost is borne by the consumers. So we need to know what people are thinking about this particular electronic waste, how they feel about it. Because if somebody gets affected, highest effect will be on the public or citizens of our country. If somebody is paying, ultimately they will be paying. The cost should be borne by them. So it's interesting to know how people in our country are thinking about this particular electronic waste management. So that's why we have narrowed down, we have conducted a survey on Dhaka city. So we applied a method called contingent valuation method. If I describe a little bit about this particular method, it's a method which is used to value environmental goods which are not sold in the marketplace. For example, if somebody wants to build one factory, iron bar producing factory beside this particular building, and if this particular factory is going to pollute the air of this particular building, then if you want to find, if I tell you that how you are going to value this particular cost or damage, because clean air is not sold in the marketplace. Can you buy it from the market? I want to buy some clean air. No, you can buy it. But what should we do? We shouldn't consider this particular cost. At that point of time, we can use this contingent valuation method. What we are going to do? We are going to ask the people in this building, particular building, look, this project is going to cause this much damage to this particular clean air of our building. How much you are willing to pay to keep the air clean? Some will say 100, some will say 50, some will say 1,000. Some will say more than that. We'll derive at some average. We'll multiply with these 100 people. Suppose on an average, each person living in this particular building is willing to pay, let's say, 1,000 taka for clean air. There are 100 people, will say the price is 100,000 for clean air. So whoever wants to establish this particular factory beside this building must make sure they bear this particular cost of 100,000 and then can make this project viable. So this method is a way to value environmental goods which are not sold in the marketplace, like damage caused by electronic waste. So we have applied this particular method. We went to households. We have conducted direct face-to-face interview, and we have used double bound technique. We have asked how much you are willing to pay. You say yes, let's say 1,000 taka, then we have increased it to 2,000. If somebody says no, we have decreased it to 500. This one we mean by double bounded technique. We have divided this households of the Dhaka city into 10 zones, and again which are subdivided into 90 wards. And we have conducted this small, very small scale pilot survey on 200 residents of Dhaka city. And ultimately we came up with 185 usable good survey instruments. And the results of the study that we have found shows that people don't know that much about these toxic materials. Okay, you can see the black part, low. Knowledge level about these toxic materials of lead, mercury, cadmium is very low in our Dhaka city. They don't know that much about these toxic items. However, they have clear-cut views about disposal technique of this electronic waste. They have mentioned, almost 95% of our sample respondents mentioned that the US disposal practice in Dhaka city is not safe. So, and finally we try to calculate their willingness to pay. We have asked them the question, we have asked them to value. We have asked them, suppose we are going to create a fund named Hazard-Free E-Waste Management Fund to ensure safe management of electronic waste in Dhaka city. Would you be willing to contribute BDT so and so to this fund only once to protect the environment? We have asked them the question. And finally, by having different versions of the questionnaire and labels of, we arrived at a figure that is 1,017 taka per household. So on an average, household of the surveyed household was willing to pay 1,000 taka, around 1,000 taka per household, in order to contribute to a fund which would be used for managing e-waste in a hazard-free way. Okay. Finally, as I have mentioned, we extrapolated to the number of households available in Dhaka city, and we have found that it's coming to around 1.13 billion taka or around 100 crore taka is coming up. So this is not some clear figure or approximation that we should be basing on, but at least this is showing their level of awareness, level of willingness in order to manage electronic waste in Dhaka city. And